Do you feel like something is stuck in your throat, like a lump in the throat? Some of you who are advanced in your English, you call it Globus sensation. This is a very common anxiety symptom. I struggle with it for the longest. And if you don't understand how anxiety works, if you don't understand anxiety, if you fear this symptom, you might think maybe it's cancer, maybe it's, throat cancer, maybe it's, something is wrong with your throat. What if it's this? What if it's this? That only happens when you don't understand this symptom, when you don't understand why this symptom is here. But don't worry, I want to use this video to explain to you what is happening and how you should handle this lump in the throat. So when I was struggling with anxiety, I had this symptom for like my entire struggle with anxiety. I had this symptom, and it is one of those symptoms, apart from nausea, it is one of those symptoms that made me lose terrible weight. I was literally thin because I was afraid of eating. Anytime I could take food into my mouth, anytime I could drink water, I could feel like there is something stuck in my throat. I could feel like I was gonna be choked. So this made me avoid food. I was not eating because I believe that what if food gets stuck in there and I just choke and I die? The way, anxiety tends to latch on our worst case scenario. So my worst case scenario was I'm gonna choke to death. Let me explain to you why this is happening. When someone is nervously ill, because I don't refer to someone struggling with anxiety as someone who is mentally ill, because you are not mentally ill. Someone who is struggling with anxiety, the other name of anxiety is fear. So someone who is struggling with anxiety is fearful. Their nerves are sensitized. Things that pre-anxiety, they could just brush it out. Now it's making them so much sensitized. It's making them to panic. It's making them to be fearful. So you are fearful. You are not. Emancipate yourself from that, like you are mentally ill. You're not mentally ill, you are fearful. So when in the fight or flight mode, because your brain believes that there is a threat that you want to fight, it releases stress hormones. The part of the brain called amygdala releases stress hormones. What are the stress hormones? The adrenaline and cortisol. And in tandem, a consequence of these stress hormones is you experiencing the physical symptoms, you experiencing the intrusive thoughts, you experiencing the panic attacks, you having the feelings of unreality, struggling with painful emotions. And in these physical symptoms, the throat tightening is part of anxiety. It's part of the physical symptoms brought by anxiety. And when in the fight or flight mode, because when we want to fight something, our muscles tend to tighten. So generally, when in the fight or flight mode, your muscles will tighten, they will contract. That's why you realize sometimes you may experience, tight chest, muscles around the head are tight. You might struggle with round, tight headband. You might struggle with migraines. You might struggle with headaches. This is as a result of the muscles around the head, they have tightened. So the same as muscles around the throat, they tighten when in the fight or flight mode. As a result, you're gonna feel like something is stuck. You're gonna feel the lump in the throat. These symptoms are real. You're gonna feel like something is stuck in your throat. You're gonna feel like you're going to choke. And let me tell you something. Swallowing, because when I've told you I had a problem with eating because I believed I was gonna, maybe I was not gonna swallow, maybe I was gonna choke. Swallowing is automatic. It's just like, when a baby is young, a baby is not taught how to swallow because it's something that happens automatically, the same as breathing, the same as sleeping. Like, it's something that happens. If you put food in your mouth and you chew, automatically you're gonna swallow. So when you think that you're not gonna eat, you're gonna choke because you're experiencing this lump in the throat, it is false. That's just anxiety trying to convince you otherwise. Anxiety can try to convince you anything. It can latch on anything and convince you that thought is true. You're gonna choke, you're having this, you're gonna have a throat cancer. And probably by the time you're watching this video, you have been to the hospital couple of times, countless times, because you're trying to, okay, what is this, and all the doctors say is that you're healthy, you're normal, the tests come out normal. So once you have been to the doctor, because I don't want to be addressing someone who is struggling with something else apart from anxiety, once you have been to the doctors and everything is out clear, nothing is wrong with you, then know that what you're struggling with is anxiety. That's anxiety. Let me tell you how I was able to handle this symptom. Let's say I was eating, because even eating in a public place, I was not able to eat. I just feared, the fear of choking was intense. So when I was eating, I could just eat and swallow that food. Just eat and swallow that food. When you continually eat, when you don't avoid eating, because if you avoid eating, you're gonna be thin, you're gonna lose terrible weight. So when you eat and swallow that food, nothing is gonna happen to you. You're not gonna choke. I want to ask you this question: have you ever choked? you're not going to choke. It's just a fear. It's just, most of these symptoms are attached to fear. So if you fear this symptom, then it's gonna be worse. It's gonna escalate, because if you fear this symptom, you're gonna focus on it, you're gonna obsess about it, you're gonna fixate about it, and as a result, you're gonna have more of this symptom. You're gonna feel it more, because with anxiety exaggerates symptoms. Something that is just small, anxiety is gonna make a mountain out of it. So for you to be able to overcome this symptom, for you to be able to tackle this, how I tackle this symptom is, I just continued eating regardless. I just drank that water regardless. I just lived my life regardless. And I'm not telling you to like ignore it. No, it's here. You have acknowledged that it's here, but you're gonna still eat that food regardless. You're gonna still drink that water regardless. You're gonna still do your thing regardless of that feeling in the throat. That's how I was able to overcome it. But every time you take action, you go to the hospital, all things are clear. Every time now you are avoiding eating, now you are focusing on it, it's gonna be worse. With anxiety, if you focus on that symptom, you're gonna get it more, because when you focus on growth, your brain is saying, okay, this is the symptom that he or she is giving attention, and it's gonna bring more of that symptom. So if you want to overcome that lump in the throat feeling, just do your thing regardless. Just live your life with it regardless. Personally, pre-anxiety, of course, when I used to have a lump in the throat is when I was sad, or I just want to cry, or someone has crossed my boundaries. Then I'm just like, I used to feel that lump in the throat. But now with anxiety, I had it 24/7, and I was like, is there something wrong with me? When I went to the hospital, everything was fine. Then I said, okay, this is another anxiety symptom. This is another symptom brought by my nerves being sensitized, and what should I do? I should throw it under the anxiety umbrella and just allow it to be there. If you resist it, if you fight it, if you try to get rid of it, the more it's gonna grip on you. So the best way to overcome this symptom is let it be.